Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be changing the front and rear brakes on my Mini R53. So the brakes have been pretty bad for quite a while. I should have really done them when I had the rear trailing arms off. When I did the suspension, but being on furlough and stuff like that, money wasn't exactly in excess, so I just chucked the old brakes back on and just replaced the pads. But now it's got to a point where the discs need changing, and the front left disc has, I think it's started to warp. So we're going to get these off today. I've tried to do this for the past like 2 weekends now, with different varieties of tools, but the brake disc retaining screws are completely seized into the hub. So I went out and bought an angle grinder, and we're going to cut them out and then get the brake disc off. So if your brake disc retaining screw is seized in, then this video will be good for you, because you'll be able to see how to get them out. It's always worth a go trying to get them out with your Torx bit or your Phillips bit or whatever it is. But if you can't get them out, then this is for you. So I just wanted to take a quick minute to say that the brake disc retaining screws are generally useless. All they do is hold the disc onto the hub, but the brake caliper and carrier do the same job, and when you put your wheel on, it holds it on anyway. So you don't really need them there. They're useful so that the disc doesn't slide sort of off the hub when you take the caliper off, but realistically you're not going to be taking the caliper off anyway, so it's not really an issue in my mind. So I have bought retaining screws, but at this point I don't think I'll be putting them back in. Okay, so I've done the passenger side, now I'm going to start on the driver's side. So I've got a jack tuff, we're going to get the wheel off. So the retaining screw on this side whizzed straight out with a T50, comes out of there, whizzed straight out, no problem. So we didn't need to angle on this side. I did have to angle on the other side. Pretty much what I did was just cut a slit in the disc there, and then a couple more, and then pretty much put a pry bar in behind here and onto the hub and just pulled towards me, and it came off. Right, so this side come off a hell of a lot easier because that brake screw came out. So I took the 2 caliper bolts off, which are 6mm hex bolts, and then took out these 2 16mm bolts which hold on the brake pad carrier, and yeah, then the disc come off. As you can see, it's in a pretty poor state. The back is particularly worse, but yeah, we're going to replace it and then get everything back on. So got the new brake disc out of the packaging. At this point you will want to use some brake cleaner. There's just a little bit of surface rust on this. It looked like the shed was leaking on it, so we're going to clean that off with some brake cleaner, and then we're going to sit it on the hub. And as you can see, there's 5 holes on that hub. As you can see, that one is out of line, so that's the one your retaining screw goes into. So you line that up on there, just like so, and then you want to get your retaining screw and plug it in there. So I've got the brake disc on, I've put the retaining screw in. As I said, you don't need them, but in an ideal world you want to put them on just to make your job a little bit easier. Put the hub carrier back on, put these 2 16mm bolts back in. That's solid now. We're going to put the pads in and get the caliper on. So pads are really straightforward. There's obviously one with this sort of clip on the back, there's one without. So the one without goes on this edge here, and the one with goes on the inside edge, and you need to push that into the piston on the caliper. So first of all, you need to push the piston back into the caliper. So on the front you just push them in, but on the back you need to wind them in. So to do the fronts, you just get a pair of pliers like this, and what I do is just lever off here next to the bolt, and then put the other side on the bottom of the piston. So I have already done this side, but I'll show you how to do it. So as I said, I lever off this bit on the back, and then push in the piston like that, and just squeeze. If it's not going in easy enough, just spray some WD-40 on the edge of the rubber lip there, and just push that in, and you'll know when it's in because it won't go anymore. So now we can put the pad in it. So as I said, putting the pad in is really, really simple. So orientation wise, you want to get this little notch, which is where your brake pad wear sensor would go. You want to put that towards the hole in the caliper, just like that. And then I found the best way to get the pins in is to put one side and the bottom in, and then push that third pin into the side of the piston, and it'll pop in like that. You can put it back onto the carrier now. Okay, so we've got the pad in the side of the caliper, and we've got it on the carrier. So what you do is swing it round. So all you do is swing it round and place it on there, just like so. We're going to put these bolts back in, and we're going to attach this metal and put the wheel back on. Right, so all the bolts are tight. Obviously the retaining screws in, like I said. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this this clip on. So I think the easiest way to do it is to put one side in and then put the other end in at the bottom. They're a little bit fiddly, and you basically just pop it over the front of the caliper then. It's a lot harder to do one-handed. You basically put them over. Once you've got them over, just give them a bit of a love tap, and you're all sorted. Get the wheel back on. So we're on the passenger side rear now. I've done the driver's side rear. It went really smooth. Managed to get the brake disc retaining screw out with the T50. So hopefully it'll be the same this side. If not, we'll have to cut it out. So let's get the wheel off. So the retaining screw on this side doesn't look too bad. It looks very similar to the other side. So we're going to give it a go. That's all we can do, really. Happy days. It's also kebab time. Cheers, Charles. So first we're going to pull these little clips out. They're a bit of a pain in the backside to do. But yeah, if you just sort of get something stuck in there, you'll be able to pry it out. Then you want to take the handbrake off, make sure you're in gear. Then remove the little caps off the back of these. Mine are already off anyway. Now get your hex 7, put it on loosen and crack them off. The bottom one you'll need a bit of an extension. It's there, you'll need an extension to clear the handbrake cable. And I'll be back once I've got the caliper off. So the two caliper bolts are out now. Just gonna lever the caliper off. As I said, make sure your handbrake's off. Otherwise these won't come off too easy. Make sure that's not stuck as well. So yeah, make sure your handbrake's off and just keep prying at it. Pry against the disc. We'll get it out. Bit of a casualty with this pad. As you can see, there's a very deep groove in it, so there's probably a big groove on the back of the disc. I'll show you when I get it off. And there's not much life left in this front pad, in this back pad. Not much life left in this back pad. So for the disc, you don't need to take the carrier off. It's a bit of a pain in the backside to get to. You have to go in through the back of the rear trailing arm. But to get it off, you have to make sure you're not seized first, which I am. But you basically pull it off. Like so. It slides out via the side. As you can see, this disc is in very bad way. There's huge grooves, and this is all grooved as well. So that's why that needs replacing. So new disc time. I'll leave a link in the description to the disc and pads that I used. But to get this in, pretty much, you just slide the disc into the side of the carrier and then seat it properly. Put retaining screw in. Get everything else sorted. So got the retaining screw back in. So putting the pads back in, there's two different sort of types. So there's one with a metal plate in, and there's one without. So the one with the metal plate in goes towards the back, and the one without the metal plate goes towards the front. They just sit like that. Now the rear calipers on these do need to be turned in. So if I can find the one that I've got, I'll leave it in the description. But pretty much you have to just turn them back. You can't just push these back in. So you want to turn this to the right. I think that's where I was going wrong. And make sure you keep applying pressure inwards as well while it's twisting. It takes a while, but you'll get there. So I got both of the pads in. Work the caliper over. Get these bolts back in at the top and the bottom of the caliper. We should be good to go. So I've done both the caliper bolts back up, put the little catch on it, the retaining screws in, the discs in, the pads in, everything's sound. So we're going to pump the brakes a few times and then check that the handbrake is okay. I'm just going to pump the brakes and pull the handbrake up. That should be good to go. Let's get the wheels on. So all the wheels are back on now, everything's tightened up again. Just took the car out for a little test run and it's perfect. Brake pedal feels really really firm, which I'm happy with, and the brakes work. You should not, for the first like 100 or so miles, not slam your brakes on. You want them to bed in properly. So when you first get in it, pump the brake pedal a few times, but try not to slam your brakes on, so they bed in properly. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit the subscribe button. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.